Well, I have to first and foremost give you guys massive props for just how ambitious you've been in integrating open innovation techniques in this program. You guys have a huge incentive prize for technology development. You have this great entrepreneurial ecosystem challenge with the Catalyst program. It's really, the SunShot program is a model for a lot of other federal government programs that are trying to do really hard things, both in technology and in regulatory and soft costs. So you guys should be giving yourselves on the DOE side a big round of applause that you've approached your program in this way. It's really remarkable. I was here yesterday, and I wore jeans, so I tried not to be totally DC while I was here. But it's really remarkable who's convened today for this demo day. Seeing yesterday some of the teams starting doing their pitches. There's awesome diversity in both idea and people on these teams. I'm really excited to see you guys pitch it out today to determine who's going to win later on this afternoon. And it's just super exciting to see, again, DOE approaching a huge problem-solving activity in this way. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time this morning pivoting from the kind of solar energy specific topic, the domain, the content area, and share a little bit more on how the federal government is using tools like these, prizes, challenges, and open innovation in order to tap into expertise from corners of the country that the government isn't necessarily usually very good at. So there's this thing called Joy's Law, and I'm sure you've seen this quote a gajillion times, but this is something that this administration has truly taken to heart. The notion that the federal government cannot possibly hire all of the smartest people in the world and expect them to be working on the hardest problems for them. So how is it that you tap into intelligence and capability in other parts of the country both through companies, through universities, and to individuals? Well, recently, the Obama administration has been a lot more aggressive in trying to get more federal agencies to use open innovation tactics in solving a variety of different types of problems. And so prizes are one of those open innovation tactics. I basically think about open innovation as a way of enabling ideas to come in at a variety of different stages of the R&D pipeline, and it not mattering where they come from. So it doesn't necessarily have to be your own internal R&D workforce, or even the same old contractors and the same old kind of universities that you go to. The ideas can come from anywhere, and the beauty is as well, with prize competitions, you don't have to predict which team is likely to succeed, because it's based on the ultimate performance of the folks that are participating in that challenge, how well they actually get to the kind of usually more objective performance criteria that you're setting for that challenge. So many of these benefits of prizes that are kind of the generic list that we use when we're talking about why prizes are such a cool tool for government are incorporated in the design of this Catalyst program. So not all of these are benefits that the Catalyst program was designed to accomplish for DOE, but many of these on here are unique types of benefits that the DOE can get by engaging with folks like you through something like a challenge that may have been very, very difficult for you guys to get in the pipeline otherwise. This is a picture from NASA's Space Apps Challenge, which is in its 4th year. It's the world's, well, we actually say the galaxy's largest hackathon that we know of. That we've been running for the last 4 years out of NASA, that engages thousands of people across the globe in addressing problems related to space and the Earth. These guys, James Wagner is the gentleman here in the center, and there was a challenge that was posed through that particular Space Apps Challenge year around trying to build a simulated kind of piece of hardware that could mimic what it would take to do characterization of asteroids. Why do we care about that? Because asteroids hit us sometimes, like they did for the dinosaurs. It was a bad day for them. So this is one of the natural disasters we can actually prevent as humanity. So one of the things that NASA does is actually tries to find all these things, know what paths they're on, characterize them to try to figure out if it's a rubble pile or if it's actually solid iron. That makes a big difference when it's coming through the atmosphere with how much force it hits our planet with. And one of the things we're thinking about using small spacecraft for, so these small CubeSats, is actually to go out and characterize, kind of 3D scan and characterize these asteroids so that we can understand better what they look like. It's really hard from the ground looking up to be able to tell what they're made of just based on 3 images from millions and millions and millions of miles away. It's a hard problem. So this team decided they were going to use a quadricopter with a variety of different types of open hardware that they brought with them to the event. And in 48 hours, they built a autonomous quadricopter that had a sonar scanning capability that flew around. This is what they did for the judging panel. So you guys aren't going to be flying any hardware in the room today, but I was on this judging panel, and they flew around a quadricopter that went up and mapped a person and then sent it to a 3D printer and was able to 3D print out what the actual surface of that person looks like. It was crazy in 48 hours. And these guys started a company, an aerospace company that's now trying to get into CubeSat development, specifically in the asteroid kind of space with NASA. And these guys didn't have any idea that this was a problem before the event, nor were they really space geeks. Now they totally are, and they're a space startup in New York City. Like I said, the Obama administration has also made this policy to use these types of mechanisms, prizes, challenges, and other open innovation tools, to say that the expectation is that we think about using high-risk, high-reward tools in order to solve some of the problems that we face today. And in fact, this is also a bipartisan idea. So, so Congress authorized the Competes Act several years ago that gives all federal agencies the authority to do prizes and competitions. So it's not a terribly partisan idea, too. I mean, how can paying for results and paying for performance be partisan? It's also one tool in a broader toolkit that the administration is putting forward for the federal government. So there's this strategy for American innovation that comes out every few years. Prizes and challenges are one tool in that toolkit that are things that can help federal agencies do their job better by tapping into different communities. There's a whole host of other tools, and the SunShot program is a great example of a program that's taken to heart the fact that there are a lot of tools out there that are maybe newer tools for government that seem opaque, and you have some lawyer or some procurement guy somewhere telling you, no, that's illegal, when in fact they're wrong. It's not illegal. It's just not regular process. So helping these guys with some of the blocking and tackling that you were talking about with those lawyers and procurement folks to get them comfortable with doing things differently is a big role that I play and other folks kind of in this space play to help folks be able to use these tools, these additional tools that are available to government more effectively. About 400 prizes have been done in the federal government in the last 5 years. It's a lot. Catalyst is one of them. Hundreds of millions of dollars has been spent through this mechanism. So it's not like it's just, $10,000 app contests that are coming through this mechanism. You've got lots of different types of challenges that are coming through. 97 were done last year. I just finished a report that's 350 pages that you can find online about every single one of those prizes that is required by Congress, that I hope they read, because it's 300 pages long. So a great study that Deloitte did also based on the use of prizes between 2010 and 2014 is that we're seeing a lot of agencies actually start to incorporate these as proven innovation tools, not just one-offs that they're trying as a public engagement activity, but actually proven innovation tools that they see that work. And I'll wrap up with just a couple examples. One, to kind of show you guys the way that these things are being used in other sectors, but also I think there's some interesting lessons from these that actually might apply to the next rounds of, say, the Catalyst program or other things the SunShot program could do. So one of the findings that's in the report that came out on Friday is that these incentive prizes are powerful tools for incentivizing and encouraging entrepreneurship. I'll give you an example that came out of HHS, which has a long history of running prizes and thus has become more ambitious over time. The NIH, the National Institutes of Health, they're one of the federal agencies that actually is producing most of the intellectual property or tech transfer kind of content that's coming out of the federal government. NASA does a lot of it too, that's my home agency, as well as a few others. This particular challenge, they have lots of unused intellectual property. So whether it's people just don't know about it, or they're things that they feel like are being underutilized in areas that there really should be more research and commercialization, they were thinking about how it is maybe that they shine a spotlight on underutilized technologies in the breast cancer research space specifically. And so they did a really innovative challenge. This Driving Innovation in Breast Cancer Challenge was actually a public-private partnership where NIH didn't pay for any of it. The Avon Foundation actually paid the prize money. So the Competes Authority actually allows government and private sector to partner together to provide co-funding for these types of activities in areas that are of high importance to both groups. And a private sector group, the Center for Advancing Innovation, administered it. In this particular challenge, they identified 11 high potential technologies. About 200 teams expressed interest, 46 were admitted to participate, and it was a multi-month, kind of similar to this activity, a challenge where these teams were encouraged to develop new startups and kind of new products around the breast cancer treatment space using some of the technologies that were identified by the NIH. This was the whole project budget was $200,000, which is less than typical grant than the Avon Foundation makes, and they got 11 promising new startups out of it. So if you talk about impact investing from the philanthropic side, they were able to get a huge bang for their buck in that particular challenge. Also relevant to this particular competition, most of the challenges that are coming out of the federal government right now have something to do with software algorithm data. There is a lot of technology development stuff happening, like the SunShot challenge. That's more of a installation challenge, or a installation and process challenge, though, as they were referring to, a bigger one, $10 million. There's some of these big, like multi-million-dollar challenges coming out, but a lot of them are kind of in the area of software and apps. But there is a huge amount of potential here for the federal government, huge amount. This particular challenge is an example where, again, an HHS example, where the Center for Medicaid Services actually was looking to develop an open source enrollment module for Medicare providers in various states. This traditionally would have cost them $7 million to develop, paying a traditional government contractor to have like 3 butts in seats to develop this software package over the course of however long through traditional kind of waterfall development approaches. They got this for 1/6 of the cost, using a crowdsourcing and challenge approach that was run on Topcoder, which is who a lot of you guys actually worked with through this challenge. So this is one of the early challenges that the federal government actually worked with Topcoder on that proved the case, that allowed DOE to be so ambitious to say, hey, let's run 20 of these things in parallel on Topcoder for these teams, and actually help them augment some of their software development capabilities. And finally, as agencies are learning to use competitions, they're becoming more ambitious and using partnership more frequently in the way that they're running challenges. Many agencies are doing this, including DOE. Another HHS example, HHS started the Health Data Palooza activity in 2010, which is their kind of way of convening entrepreneurs and individuals and companies around health data that had previously either not been released or it wasn't well convened around. There wasn't a community built around that data. It has grown immensely over the last 5 years. There are alumni now coming out of these Data Palooza activities, new challenges spurring out of it that are specific to specific challenges within the space, and it's a really, really healthy and robust community in the health space. There is certainly an opportunity, and I know that that's the evil little plan of the folks in the SunShot community, to do the same thing with solar energy data and solar energy innovation. And you guys are going to have a great community. You're all alumni now. That are part of this kind of great community that's working to create this innovation ecosystem together. One really interesting thing that HHS did just this past several months was this ONC Market R&D Pilot Challenge, where they actually have picked 6 teams to pilot their products in a clinical setting for 6 months. Are paying for these pilots in order to start to build the evidence base for health IT and mobile health. So they're using a challenge approach in order to actually get some of the data that they're going to need to further the evidence base to continue this type of investment within the federal government. So thought that was a very, very interesting example as well. Again, last shout out to SunShot. You guys are awesome. This is so great. The energy yesterday was great. All the teams are going to do wonderful today. I'll be your cheerleader because I'm not judging you. This is such an awesome model for the rest of the federal government. You guys did this so fast. You did it so lean. You incorporated many things. I told Mike and Craig at a couple instances in their design process, I was like, guys, that's a little ambitious. But if anyone can do it, you can. And they did. They've done a great job. And I'm really, really excited for hearing y'all's pitches today and seeing who wins and moves on to continue the development of their products. Also, Mike told me yesterday that they've opened up today the ideation for the next phase of the SunShot Catalyst program as well. So please continue to submit ideas. be involved in this community. You are now alumni, so encourage your friends to compete and participate in the next round of SunShot as well, to continue to grow the community together. Thank you, guys.